"Daddy, why don't you ever take a bath with me like mommy used to?" Maria asked. John quickly stripped down to his boxers and joined her in the tub. "We need to stop meeting like this, little troublemaker," he joked as he helped her undress. Maria asked, "Daddy, why does mommy keep calling so much? Is she worried about us?" As he filled the tub, Maria pointed at the door. "Why don't we lock it? Mommy always locks it." John hesitated, then closed the door without locking it. "We don't need to, Maria. It's just us." The next morning, Maria woke up earlier than usual and wandered into John's dressing room. He was halfway through changing into a business suit. "Good morning, Daddy," she chirped. Maria nodded, her gaze fixed on him. "Daddy, why do boys wear different underwear than girls?" The question caught him off guard. "Well, because boys and girls are different. That's all. Can I see?" The golden walls of the Smith mansion glimmered under the city lights, a palace in its own right. Maria, a vibrant 8-year-old girl, sat on the marble floor of the grand living room, her laughter echoing faintly as she played with her dolls. Her mother, Anna, was in the kitchen preparing dinner while her father, John, a wealthy businessman, was upstairs in his study. The story began 3 months earlier when Anna had decided to visit her sister in Ghana for 2 weeks, leaving John alone with Maria. "Take good care of my baby," Anna had said half-jokingly. To him, they played hide and seek, had tea parties, and he even helped her with her bedtime stories. One evening, after Maria spilled juice all over herself during dinner, John took her to the bathroom to clean up. It started as an innocent father-daughter moment, but as he helped her wash her face and body, Maria's curious questions about privacy and why mommy always locks the bathroom door planted a seed of unease in John's mind. The next morning, Maria woke up to the sound of music blasting from the living room. It was John's favorite jazz playlist. He was a man of routines, and Saturday mornings meant pancakes, loud music, and father-daughter bonding. Maria dashed downstairs, still in her pajamas, her doll clutched tightly in her hand. "Good morning, princess," John greeted, flipping a pancake into the air. "Hungry? Starving?" she replied with a grin. The day unfolded with playful banter. After breakfast, John decided to sort through some files in his study, leaving Maria to her own devices. She played in the living room for a while but soon got bored. "Daddy, can we play hide and seek?" she called out. "Of course," John replied, setting his files aside. As they played, Maria giggled uncontrollably, hiding under the dining table, behind curtains, and even inside the pantry. Peeked. But before she could examine it further, John found her. "Gotcha," he said, pulling her out of the closet. His eyes flickered to the briefcase, and for a split second, his expression darkened. "That's Daddy's special box," he said, kneeling to her level. "You must never touch it, okay?" Maria nodded, but the mysterious box lingered in her mind. That evening, after dinner, Maria spilled juice on herself again, just as she had the night before. "You're a little troublemaker, aren't you?" John teased, carrying her to the bathroom. This time, he filled the tub with warm water and added her favorite bubble bath. As she splashed around, he stayed nearby, washing her hair and laughing at her antics. But as the bath continued, Maria asked a question that caught him off guard. "Daddy, why don't you ever take a bath with me like mommy used to?" John hesitated. "Well, you're a big girl now. You don't need me to do that, but I want to," she insisted. Not wanting to disappoint her, he relented. "All right, but only this once, okay?" He quickly stripped down to his boxers and joined her in the tub. It was innocent. At least it felt that way to John, but something not at the back of his mind. He knew society wouldn't see it the same way. Still, he pushed the thought aside, focusing instead on making Maria laugh. The following day, while playing dress-up in the living room, Maria found one of John's old shirts. She wore it like a dress, running around the house and pretending to be a businesswoman like her father. John, amused, decided to join in. He pulled off his tie and handed it to her. "Here, every businesswoman needs one of these." They laughed. But as the game continued, John began changing into his workout clothes in the middle of the room. Maria watched curiously. "Daddy, why do you have so many muscles?" she asked. "Because I work out to stay strong," he replied, flexing his arms. Maria giggled, but the moment felt strange to John. He couldn't pinpoint why, but a sense of unease crept in. The housemaid, Grace, began to notice the growing closeness between John and Maria. One afternoon, she saw John helping Maria dry off after another bath. It seemed harmless, but the sight lingered in her mind. Later that day, she mentioned it to Ian, the driver. "Do you think it's normal for a man to be that close to his daughter?" "It's none of our business," Ian replied dismissively. But Grace wasn't satisfied. She started watching them more closely, taking mental notes of every interaction. One evening, Anna called from Ghana, checking in on her family. "How's Maria?" she asked. "She's fine," John replied, trying to keep his tone light. But Maria, overhearing the conversation, ran to the phone. "Mommy, Daddy's been giving me baths like you do," she exclaimed. Anna froze on the other end. "What did she just say?" "It's nothing," John interjected quickly. "She spilled juice on herself a few times, and I had to clean her up, that's all." Anna didn't respond immediately, but the doubt had been planted. That same night, while John was in his study, Maria wandered back to her parents' bedroom. The locked briefcase called to her like a siren song. She tried pressing random combinations on the lock, but nothing worked. Suddenly, she heard footsteps approaching. She quickly hid under the bed. John entered the room, carrying a small key. He unlocked the briefcase, revealing a stack of documents and something else, something metallic that gleamed under the light. Maria squinted from her hiding spot, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. But before she could figure it out, John closed the briefcase and left the room. The following week was uneventful, at least on the surface. John continued his playful bonding with Maria, but Anna's calls from Ghana became more frequent. She asked increasingly specific questions about Maria's activities, her tone sharp. "Why does Maria keep mentioning bath time with you? At her age, John, it's not normal. She can bathe herself." John's chest tightened. "Anna, she's just a child. I'm her father. You don't think I'd ever harm her, do you?" "I don't know what to think," she replied. Her words lingered like a ghost in the house, haunting John. One evening, Maria spilled orange juice on herself again, this time while they were in the living room. John sighed and carried her to the bathroom. "We need to stop meeting like this, little troublemaker," he joked as he helped her undress. Maria asked, "Daddy, why does Mommy keep calling so much? Is she worried about us?" John paused. "No, sweetheart, she just misses you." As he filled the tub, Maria pointed at the door. "Why don't we lock it? Mommy always locks it." John hesitated, then closed the door without locking it. "We don't need to, Maria. It's just us." Grace, the housemaid, passed by and noticed the slightly ajar bathroom door. She caught a glimpse of John crouched near the tub, helping Maria rinse her hair. A spark of alarm lit in her chest, and she quickly moved on, her suspicions growing. The next morning, Maria woke up earlier than usual and wandered into John's dressing room. He was midway through changing into a business suit. "Good morning, Daddy," she chirped, rubbing her sleepy eyes. John smiled and continued buttoning his shirt. "Morning, princess. Did you sleep well?" Maria nodded, her gaze fixed on him. "Daddy, why do boys wear different underwear than girls?" The question caught him off guard. He chuckled nervously. "Well, because boys and girls are different, that's all." "Can I see?" she asked innocently. John froze. He quickly pulled on his trousers and knelt before her. "Maria, some things are private. You shouldn't ask questions like that." "Okay, but why, Daddy?" she persisted. "Because it's important to respect boundaries," he said firmly, his voice trembling slightly. Grace, passing by the room, heard the tail end of their conversation. Her unease grew. She couldn't keep her suspicions to herself any longer. She confided in her cousin, who worked as a cleaner for another wealthy family. "I think something strange is happening in the Smith house," she said, her voice low. "Mr. Smith is too close to that little girl. It's not right." Her cousin, intrigued, shared the story with someone else. and soon whispers began to circulate in the neighborhood. One evening, while John was on a business call, Maria returned to the mysterious briefcase in her parents' bedroom. She had memorized the numbers John pressed the last time and decided to try them. The lock clicked open. Inside, she found stacks of papers, contracts, property deeds, and a shiny silver pistol. Her eyes widened as she reached for the weapon, her small fingers brushing against the cold metal. Just then, John appeared in the doorway. "Maria," he barked, his voice thunderous. She jumped, dropping the briefcase. "I just wanted to see what was inside." John snatched the pistol and placed it back inside, his face a mix of anger and fear. "Maria, you must never touch this again. Do you understand me?" Tears welled in her eyes. "I'm sorry, Daddy." He hugged her tightly, but the tension was palpable. 2 days later, an envelope arrived at the mansion. It was addressed to Anna, but since she was still in Ghana, John opened it. The letter was handwritten, with no name or return address. "Your husband is hiding something. He's not the man you think he is. Ask your daughter about their bath times." John's hands trembled as he read the note. His mind raced. Who could have sent it? Was it Grace, one of his business rivals? That evening, during dinner, John noticed Grace lingering near the doorway, her gaze piercing. He slammed his fork onto the table, startling Maria. "Grace, I need to speak with you now." Grace hesitated, then followed him into the study. "Have you been spreading lies about me?" he demanded, his voice low and menacing. "I don't know what you mean, sir," she replied, feigning innocence. John stepped closer. "I've been getting letters. Someone's been watching me and my daughter. If I find out it's you," Grace cut him off. "Maybe you should ask yourself why people are watching in the first place, sir." Her words struck a nerve. John dismissed her, but the tension between them thickened. One night, John woke to the sound of whispers. He followed the noise to Maria's room and found her sitting on the floor, talking to her doll. "Why are you awake, princess?" he asked softly. She looked up at him, her eyes wide. "Mommy called again. She said she's coming home tomorrow." John's heart sank. He knew Anna would confront him about the rumors, the letters, everything. He had no idea how to explain himself. The next day, Anna stormed into the Smith mansion, her heels clicking against the marble floor like gunshots. The tension in the air was palpable. John, seated in the living room, looked up from his newspaper, his heart pounding. "Anna, you're home early," he said, forcing a smile. She didn't return the pleasantry. Instead, she held up a crumpled envelope, the latest anonymous letter she had intercepted at the airport. "What is this, John?" she demanded. John's stomach twisted. "Where did you get that?" "It doesn't matter. What matters is the content. What have you been doing with Maria while I've been away?" Her voice cracked with a mix of anger and fear. Maria, hearing her mother's raised voice, peeked from behind the staircase. "Mommy, don't be angry with Daddy," she said softly, and his eyes widened. "Go to your room, Maria," she said firmly. "No, let her stay," John interjected. "She deserves to hear this." John took a deep breath. "Anna, I've done nothing wrong. Yes, I've bathed Maria a few times, but only because she spilled juice on herself. I've played with her, dressed in front of her, and maybe I didn't think much of it because I'm her father, but I never crossed any line." Anna's hands trembled. "Do you know how it looks, John? The housemaid is talking, neighbors are whispering, and now there are letters accusing you of." She choked on the words. John's voice rose, his frustration boiling over. "Accusing me of what? Being a father? Loving my child? These people don't know me. You know me, Anna." The argument escalated until Maria, frightened, ran to her father's side. "Stop fighting," she cried. "Daddy didn't do anything bad." The next morning, Anna sat John down, her face pale and drawn. "We need to get to the bottom of this. Someone is targeting our family." John agreed, and they decided to review the CCTV footage from the house. What they discovered left them speechless. The footage revealed Grace eavesdropping on private moments, whispering to someone on the phone, and even sneaking into their bedroom when they weren't around. But what shocked them most was a conversation between Grace and the family driver, Ian. "I don't think Mr. Smith has bad intentions," Ian said. Grace scoffed. Intentions don't matter. People will believe what they want to believe. Besides, I'm getting paid to make sure his reputation is ruined. That evening, John and Anna called Grace into the living room. Her usual smug demeanor faltered when she saw the cold determination in their eyes. "Grace," Anna began, "we know everything." "I don't know what you're talking about," Grace said, feigning innocence. John slammed his hand on the table, startling her. "Don't lie to us. We have footage of you sneaking into our bedroom and spreading lies about me." Grace's facade crumbled, and she burst into tears. "I didn't mean any harm. Someone paid me to do it. They said it was just to teach you a lesson." "Who?" John demanded. "Chief Olu," she whispered. Armed with this information, John confronted Chief Olu at his office. "You thought you could destroy my family and get away with it?" John growled. Olu smirked. "It's not personal, John. Just business. You took a contract that should have been mine, so I hit you where it hurts." John clenched his fists, but forced himself to remain calm. "You're going to pay for this." He filed a lawsuit against Olu and provided the police with the evidence of his involvement. Grace and Olu were both arrested, and their schemes were exposed in the media. With the culprits dealt with, John and Anna focused on rebuilding their family's trust and reputation. They sat down with Maria to explain everything in simple terms. "Daddy never did anything wrong, sweetheart," Anna said, holding Maria's hand. "But we all need to learn how to respect boundaries and privacy," John added. "It's okay to have fun and be close as a family, but some things are better done alone, like bathing or changing clothes." Maria nodded solemnly, her young mind absorbing the lesson. The Smith family emerged stronger from the ordeal, but they carried the lessons with them. As for Maria, she grew up to become an advocate for family dynamics and child safety, using her story to teach others about the importance of healthy boundaries. The story of John, Anna, and Maria teaches us that love within a family is precious, but it must be guided by wisdom and understanding. Parents need to create healthy boundaries that foster respect and trust, while also being mindful of how their actions are perceived by others. Communication and transparency are vital in preventing misunderstandings and protecting family bonds. Remember, even the purest intentions can be misinterpreted, so it's always wise to tread carefully. Thank you for watching. It's time to hear from you. How does this story resonate with you? What are your thoughts about this story? Did you really learn something from this story? If yes, comment below. I will really love to read from you. Let's interact in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye for now.